It is Tuesday, June 3rd. It is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. SP3 is back after doing 3 shows last week. Maybe doing two shows this week. I don't know. Joel, you never know with him. Just 2-show Joel might strike again this week. I do have to say thank you to Joel who set up the show last night. The least he could do, if we're being honest, with as little as he does around here, the least he can do is set up the show for me when I've had a very long day and a very long night. SP3, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing well. We're here to talk some wrestling as per usual, some Monday Night Raw. I don't know if you guys talked about the NJPW Best of Super Juniors. So, of course, as the New Japan aficionado that I am, I will be discussing that on today's show. And, of course, some NBA talk as Club Superstar, the final burst. I'm gonna finalize the Club Superstar for 2025 until next season.
All right. Folks, if you missed the show on Friday, I believe it on Friday. First off, what's wrong with you? Why are you missing shows? What's happening now? There's these things in the chat called XP points. I don't understand it. I think it's kind of stupid, but have you noticed this, SP3?
I did. You heard about this? I noticed this before you mentioned it on Friday. I noticed it. Okay. I seen it at the top that it said 50 XP and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't get it. But anyway, there's XP chats. And apparently you get XP points by commenting and leaving super chats and all that fun stuff. So we're going to have fun with this little gimmick that YouTube has forced upon us. I guess we don't have to do anything with it, but we are. We're going to have fun with it. At the end of every month, I will tally up who is in the first place with the XP points. And whoever gets first place, you'll receive a cameo from Brian Alvarez. Why Brian Alvarez? Because we think it's funny. And he has no idea what he's actually getting himself into. Like we're going to pay $10 for a Brian Alvarez cameo and have him shout out somebody on Fightful in the Weeds. Alvarez has no idea this is a bit. He's probably going to be very confused when he has to read out to a shout out to, a rare beast. Imagine just Brian Alvarez just saying, hey, shout out to you, a rare beast. You're the number one chatter on Fightfuls in the Weeds. We'll see what Brian does. We'll get him to say some funny stuff. We'll have you give a -5 stars for a rare beast or whoever is at the top.
So we're talking about the real
so you win a
Brian
cameo
Alvarez,
Brian
right?
Alvarez.
We're talking about the real Brian Alvarez and not you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We already did this bit. Yeah, we did it. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. You get a real Brian Alvarez cameo from Brian Alvarez. Yeah, we're paying for a legit cameo. Brian's cheap on cameo, That's well worth it. Well worth the $10. So
he's a cheap
all
date.
month, everybody. Yeah. All month, everybody. Chat away. Get your chats in. Get your super chats in. Will the winner allowed to be viewed on ITW? What do you mean, Jules? Like, we're gonna play it on the show if that's what you mean. Yeah, some aggregators out there is gonna be like Wrestling Observer, Figure 4 Weekly, and Fightful working together. Yeah, we're all working together to take down Sports Kita is what's happening.
Hey, can we all see? As you should.
Yeah, Jules. We're going to play the cameo live on air. So, yes, everyone will see it. Everyone will see it. Oh, there you go. So get your chats in, everybody. Get your super chats in. Get your question, comment, statement right on the air and earn XP points, which is way more important than anything else. You want to earn these XP points. I'm just going to keep pushing this XP nonsense. I feel very dirty continuing to push these XP points. We need micro transactions, like all the sports games have nowadays. Level up your chatting by giving more money. That way you can have a 100 overall player before everybody else, and then just beat up on a bunch of 50 overall dorks who try to play on the blacktop. That's what's gonna happen. Leave a thumbs up on the video, everybody. Let's see. There's the fireworks. Leave your thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel. All that fun stuff. But most importantly, keep chatting. Get those XP points. I know everybody out here wants a cameo from Brian Alvarez.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have him call dorks and geeks. Congratulations to Gray Streams for being the top chatter on Fightful Over Books in the Weeds. Everybody else in the chat is a dork and a geek and gets -5 stars.
Can he explain to them what a cookout is too?
Oh yeah, we can put something like that in there. we can do something like that. We'll come up with a good message to have Brian read on the airs. How you doing, SP3? You want to do Club Superstar? You want to go ahead and open that up, and I assume kick Jalen Brunson out the door, away from the line?
You know what? I'm not gonna kick anybody out. I'm not gonna kick anybody out. We might be kicking some people out at the start of next season from Club Superstar, but for now, I have my list in front of me of the people who are in the exclusive Club Superstar. I only have 10 spots in this Club Superstar. We're not like for first things first, where they have 12 spots. Because there's 12 roster spots. No. It's 10 spots. The top 10 players, the top 10 superstars in the NBA. Those are the people allowed in Club Superstar. In our VIP room, aka the MVP room, we have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. He is in Club Superstar, certified Club Superstar. He gets
only took him
free bottle service in Club Superstar.
All right. Only took him winning the conference finals. Couldn't get there just by making the conference finals like Anthony Edwards. Had to actually win the conference finals. Okay.
Yeah. MVP, conference finals, championship. We're very exclusive here. We don't just let any willy-nilly up in Club Superstar.
I'll determine that. I'll be the judge of that.
Then we got Nikola Jokic.
All right.
Three-time MVP, NBA champion, best player in the world to a lot of people. We got to keep him in Club Superstar. We got LeBron James, of course, four-time NBA champion, four-time MVP, 40 years old, still going strong, still a top 10 player in the league. He's got to be in here. Luka Doncic, yes, he's still in here. The Luka Doncic. This is how people in the hood call him. So I understand if that was a little confusing.
Is it?
But I said it the right way the first time, and you didn't say anything, and then I say it the second time with a little slang to it. Luka Doncic. He is in this in Club Superstar. Of course, he's well deserving of being in Club Superstar. Scorer extraordinaire. He's got the personality points. He got the aura to him that puts him in Club Superstar. Then we got Kevin Durant, who we will be checking his ID. We will be checking his ID because he's the only member of Club Superstar who didn't make the playoffs this year. So we might be checking his ID to see if we can get him the hell up out of here.
How many playoff games has Kevin Durant won over the last 3 seasons?
Two-time NBA champion, former MVP, Kevin Durant. Durant.
All right.
Then we got Steph Curry, of course, one of the greatest of all time, 4-time NBA champion, greatest shooter of all time. He's in Club Superstar. He deserves to be here.
Does Steph get to sit down from carrying Kevin Durant into Club Superstar? Does he get his own special chair So
yeah. He gets his own special chair where he can go fishing in Cancun because he had to be here early. So he's in Club Superstar.
I mean, he was there later than everybody else in Club Superstar.
Yeah. KD saved him a seat. He saved him a
LeBron
seat
and
on the
Luka
boat.
were there earlier too.
Yes, absolutely. They all saved
Okay.
Steph a seat. He's
All right.
here.
All right.
He's here. He's in Club Superstar. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis
Also there before Steph.
Or you can go. You could play the Tony Khan blurb. Because that's the best way to pronounce it.
Hold on.
Oh, this guy. Look at this. He's supposed to be on the ball, you know, running the ship.
I'm dead serious. The MVP of the NBA. Yeah, I'm not making this up. For AEW Rampage, ladies and gentlemen, the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's go.
Still good every time.
Always gets me. It always gets me. Always pop me. All right. So this might be a controversial one. Might be a controversial one for everybody. I am allowing Jason Tatum into Club Superstar.
Okay.
With a boot on. He's got a boot on. He's in the injury section of Club Superstar. But Jason Tatum, he more than deserves to be in Club Superstar. Anthony Edwards, despite his performance in the conference finals this year, he's got the aura points.
Despite his performance, what performance?
He's got the moniker of Legend Killer. He deserves to be in Club Superstar. And then we checked his ID. We opened up the velvet rope.
Is this 10?
Yes, I'm up to 9 so far. Okay. I'm up to 9.
All right.
I'm up to 9. And then the 10th spot,
count.
The 10th spot is none other. We opened up the velvet rope. He's got an official ID. It's scanned on our scanners. And he's walking into the club like this. Tyrese Halliburton, welcome to Club Superstar. He deserves to be here. The magical moments that he created in this postseason. Tyrese Halliburton, a member of Club Superstar. That is the 10 in Club Superstar, ladies and gentlemen, for 2025. Our 10 for Club Superstar. We'll go over it again for those who can't count like Jeremy. We got the usual suspects, the 3 old men in the club, still in the club, of LeBron, Steph Curry, and KD. We got our former MVPs of Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo, or we can play the clip again. We got Jason Tatum wearing a boot. We got Luka Doncic. We got Anthony Edwards. We got Tyrese Halliburton, and we got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That is our 10 for Club Superstar 2025. The club is closed. Everybody who is in the club, no more access. We're like cutting it off. We're like, no more access. We're at full capacity for 2025. That is Club Superstar 2025. Still on the line to get in, though. We got Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is at the front of the line. He's ready. We're ready to take his ID, and he might be given access depending on what the Knicks do in the offseason. You never know. We might start off the 2025-2026 season with Jalen Brunson being invited in due to what the Knicks were able to do in this postseason because they overachieved. They overachieved in this postseason. So I got to show the Knicks some love. My pick for the Eastern Conference Finals was Knicks in 7. But I also did say on this show that I was jinxing them, and I did what I needed to do to jinx it, so New York wouldn't be burned down. Jalen Brunson more than deserving of being in Club Superstar. He's just a little bit of the way. We don't give tax. We don't give tax for being in New York. We don't do all that. He's a bona fide scorer, but he's only doing it on one side of the court, and he doesn't have the resume of Anthony Edwards. That's how. That's how in the hell Anthony Edwards is in Club Superstar and Jalen Brunson isn't. This was Jalen Brunson's first conference finals. It's Ant-Man's second. Ant-Man has beaten all these legends along the way to 2 conference finals back to back at the age of 23. Jalen Brunson has done very well for himself. The first conference finals for the New York Knicks in 25 years. He may go down. He may be already a top 10 Knick. I will give him all the credit in the world and all the respect in the world, but I don't think he is in Club Superstar just yet. He needs a little bit more to be welcomed into Club Superstar. We are very exclusive. We are very exclusive. You want to be, everybody's going willy-nilly and calling people superstar, this and that and the third. No, I don't do that. I call it like I see it. I don't give any tax for being in a certain state. Unless you're from Los Angeles, then you deserve the tax because you're champions. New York Knicks is not no champions. So no, I'm not gonna give the Knicks any preferential treatment. Jalen Brunson's at the front of the line. Victor Wembanyama, he's on the line. He's on the line. He's on the cusp. Yes, you have a question?
I have 2 comments. Balloons. Jalen Brunson has the same amount of conference finals appearances as Anthony Edwards and has more wins in the conference finals than Anthony Edwards. That's 1. 2.
And a couple of those wins came via the Dallas Mavericks, didn't it?
Yes, but you said Edwards has been in more conference finals.
He was the second or third best player on those teams.
Okay, I'm just stating facts.
Anthony Edwards is the first. He's been the first best player on all of his teams since he came into the league.
I'm just letting you know they have the same amount of conference finals appearances, and Jalen Brunson has more wins. Second, why not Kawhi Leonard and over Kevin Durant?
Kawhi Leonard, he got kicked out the club a while ago. When you get hurt too much, we kicked out Kawhi Leonard. We kicked out Joel Embiid. When you get injured that much, you lose out on your currency. Like Joel Embiid, he got currency. He was in Club Superstar for a while off his 2023 MVP performance, off of being the best player on the Philadelphia 76ers. He's got the aura points. He's got the charisma to be in Club Superstar. But when you're out injured for that long, you got to go out. You got to go out. You got to be gone. And as far as it's a similar situation with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, he was injured for a lot of bit. This season, he was on the court a little bit more. He played really well in the first round of the NBA playoffs. I will give him all the credit in the world. So that is why Kawhi, he got kicked out, but now he's back online. Kawhi Leonard is back online, and he might get access. He might get access off of his resume and his credentials. He might get access once again, but for now, he's back online.
So why is Kevin Durant's there? Because he's just been healthier, but not gone as far in the playoffs.
He's been healthier, and like I said, he is the one that if we have to make room for Jalen Brunson, we're gonna have to kick him out next. This is the end of the end of 2025, 2025 Club Superstar. He's got this is the little bit of equity that he has left keeps him in Club Superstar.
So you're rewarding health over performance.
Yeah, I am rewarding being on the court more than just being on the court and playing.
More than being bad on the court.
Has he been bad or has his team been bad?
Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't been good enough to even get them into the playoffs. So he hasn't been great. If you can't.
He's been good. He's played well. His team hasn't.
Kawhi got his team to the playoffs. You're telling me?
If we're really gonna argue for the Clippers, I think James Harden has a better shot of getting into Club Superstar. I think James Harden was much more valuable to the Clippers in making the playoffs this season than Kawhi Leonard
Right.
was.
The Suns have Devin Booker. It's not like they have a bad team. They've got another really good player.
We had to kick out Devin Booker. We made a sacrifice for the Phoenix Suns. They had two guys in club superstars just 2 years ago with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. We had to kick out Devin Booker, and we're keeping in Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant has the better resume of the two Suns. We made concessions.
Sure.
We
But
made
this-
concessions. I
this
understand
isn't-
you don't like Kevin Durant, but we can't deny
No.
his resume.
I mean, I don't like Kevin Durant. Fuck Kevin Durant. I'm also just trying to see the reasoning of why it's Kawhi and not Kevin Durant. You've
I just
explained
explained.
it. I know.
explained.
You've said health. I believe that performance should be rewarded over health, especially when the guy who maybe hasn't been healthy, but he was healthy enough this season to get his team to the playoffs, where the other guy, who has also missed some games, let's be honest, he missed an entire season, just like Kawhi Leonard did in 2020.
Kawhi Leonard has missed a majority of multiple seasons, not just one season. Like
since 2020, who has played more games, Kawhi Leonard or Kevin Durant?
Let's see. I hear you typing. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Since 2020, that's when Kawhi went to the Clippers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 266 games for Kawhi Leonard.
Mhm.
Kevin Durant since 2020. I'm using 2019 to 2020. That's what I'm using. Kevin Durant is at 274 games.
So Kevin Durant's played more games.
Yeah. By a whole.
Oh no! Don't play semantics with me. Don't play numbers.
Okay,
with
but
me.
hold on.
You looked up the
No, I know.
numbers. Who played more games? Kevin Durant has played more games. Let's keep it at that.
Okay.
And now you could use another angle. Go to another angle. Don't play
Who?
semantics. And, only by 8 games.
Okay. Who has played more playoff games in that time?
Now we're just.
I'm asking.
We're going through semantics at this point.
But no, it's not. I'm asking questions. Kevin Durant's played 31 and Kawhi Leonard's played 35. So Kawhi by a little, about the same as the regular season. Honestly, not that big of a deal. Like, I don't think 4 more playoff games and 6 more regular season games, 8 more regular season games is a big deal either way. They've been healthy for essentially the same amount of games when you count playoffs and regular season. Right?
No, Kevin Durant played more games.
Okay.
Yes. You looked up the numbers. He has.
Yeah,
I just did the quick math in my head. And that's only because the Clippers made the playoffs this season and the Phoenix Suns did. If the Phoenix Suns make the playoffs
kind of a big
this
deal.
season, you have nothing. You have nothing to go on.
They've made the playoffs in more seasons. They've made the playoffs in more seasons than Kevin Durant.
Yes, because Paul George, and
we're going to count
are apparently better than Devin Booker.
Than Devin Booker? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You say so.
Norman Powell.
Yeah. Definitely.
Norman Powell better than Devin Booker.
Yeah.
And I see these people. Oh, Sid, you SP3, you've lost your mind. You're thinking of letting James Harden in. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I am saying his argument of Kawhi deserving to be in the club superstars because the Clippers made the playoffs and the Phoenix Suns didn't. You give more of the credit for this season to James Harden than Kawhi Leonard. If you're letting in Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers making the playoffs over the Phoenix Suns, then you would give more of the credit to James Harden, not to Kawhi Leonard. Understand, context is key. My argument is not falling apart. You're just not listening well. Try turning the fucking volume up.
Are you okay? You good?
No, I don't like the semantics game you're playing with me.
Who's playing semantics?
Your hatred for Kevin Durant.
I'm not playing semantics. I agreed with you that Kevin Durant has played more games. It's not much, but it's more. Kawhi Leonard has played more playoff games. It's not much, but it's more. Here's the thing. I don't even think Kawhi should be there either. I am just saying, why is it Kawhi over Kevin Durant? You have argued health. I've put out the numbers that he has been healthier by a couple of games. So then I would look at performance. I think Kawhi's won a title more recently than Kevin Durant. That's factual.
By a year.
Okay. But is the same way Kevin Durant has played 8 more regular season games is the same way Kawhi has won a title more recently.
Yeah. I'm just keeping the same energy. I'm mentioning the semantics of it all.
Okay, that's fine. So is the title less important than 8 more regular season games?
No, I'm gonna look up the stats. Let's look at the stats here. Let's look at the stats for.
Oh, Kevin Durant has better stats. Kevin Durant 100% has better stats.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure. I'm going by everything.
Okay, but hold on.
This is 2025 Club Superstar.
Right.
This is 2025 Club Superstar, and has these guys played like superstars? Yes.
Okay.
All the people that I named in Club Superstar played like superstars, and also played a lot of the majority of their games this season.
Kevin Durant has better stats than a lot of people. Kevin Durant puts up a lot of really good stats. If your argument for Club Superstar is stats, Joel Embiid should be there.
I've literally said all the credentials here.
I know
all the things that are necessary. But if we're breaking it down, if we're looking at how many games has this person played in comparison to this person over 5-year span, if we're putting in how many playoff games this person played over this person, I just want to see the stats next to each other. And I just looked it up. And Kevin Durant for this past regular season averaged 27 points per game on 53% from the field, 6 rebounds and 4 assists, while Kawhi Leonard. Let's see what Kawhi
doesn't have as strong of scoring numbers. Kawhi doesn't have probably as strong as Kevin Durant has better stats. That's not even an argument.
In all the major categories, Kevin Durant is put up better stats than Kawhi Leonard this season. Most minutes per game, more points per game, better shooting from the field, better shooting from 3, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks, more steals.
All right, I have a very important question for you though, SB3. Who had better playoff stats this season? If you want to look at the most recent stats, who had better playoff stats this year?
Okay, no, we're not going to go by this year. We're going to go from the
last time you went by this year for Kevin Durant's regular season.
Oh, okay, let's look at. Well, then we'll look at their careers.
Kevin Durant has much better playoff stats.
We'll look at their careers as well. For a career, Kawhi Leonard averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists on 32 minutes per game, while Kevin Durant has averaged 27 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 4.5 assists on 37 minutes per game.
Okay.
More points, more rebounds, more assists, more minutes, better shooting from the field, better shooting from 3. Kevin Durant wins all those categories.
Better shooting from 3 in the playoffs or the regular season?
Oh, you want me to check playoff stats as well? All right, we'll check the playoff stats. Let's look at
Kawhi Leonard Kevin Durant from 3 in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure of that.
I watched Kevin Durant shoot from 3 in OKC. His numbers are awful. I'm being honest. He shot 32% from 3 in his career in OKC in the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard shoots 39% from 3 over his career in the playoffs. That's really good.
That is really good. I'll give it to him.
Kawhi shoots better from the field in the playoffs, just in general. Kevin Durant's at 47 for his career. Kawhi Leonard's at 51. Yeah, Kevin Durant has better overall numbers because Kevin Durant's more of a numbers guy than Kawhi. Kawhi's not a 30-point per game scorer. That's just not who he is. He's more of a two-way player. He's a better defender than Kevin Durant. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
I'm
argue
not.
that.
I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to argue
All
that.
right.
He is a better defender. But Kevin Durant ain't no scrub on the defensive end. He's not just a one-way
No,
player. He's very good defender.
Yeah, he's a good defender.
And the gap, I would say the gap is wider on offense for Kevin Durant over Kawhi Leonard than the defensive end is for Kawhi over KD.
I mean, Kevin Durant gets numbers. I'm looking at who is influencing winning more. I think Kawhi Leonard influences winning more than Kevin Durant.
This hatred for Kevin Durant is ridiculous, but
it's not hatred. It is a little bit.
It is let's call it like it is.
I'll be truly honest. I can appreciate Kevin Durant's game. I think Kevin Durant is still and will forever be one of the greatest scorers in NBA. I don't think he influences winning in the same way that he certainly used to. Certainly in his prime, yeah. If you had Kevin Durant on your team, you knew you were a playoff team. Like you were there as a playoff team. I can't ignore his past few seasons in Phoenix where he gets his numbers, but they just don't win. They just don't win games. Like I can't ignore that.
That's on the management.
Certainly the roster. Certainly the roster
sucks
around him, but no one looks at this Clippers roster and thinks like, "Hey, this is a really great roster." Like,
it's also coaching. They have a better coach. They hired
Frank Vogel. They hired Frank Vogel, who's a championship coach. They hired Mike Budenholzer, who's a championship coach.
Frank Vogel only deserved both of those. It was like two assistant coaches winning in 2020. It was Frank Vogel and Jason Kidd. They deserve equal credit for that.
Tyronn Lue has how many titles?
He's got one, but his one is one of the greatest of all time.
His one goes to LeBron James and Kyrie Irving for. Tyronn Lue didn't have to say a whole lot to say, "Hey, LeBron and Kyrie, go out and score 60
from a 3-1
apiece."
deficit. That takes coaching to come back from a 3-1 deficit.
If you're giving assistant coaches credit for Frank Vogel's championship, who gets credit for Mike Budenholzer's championship? Just Giannis? You're just going to give all the credit to Giannis for being Giannis?
I mean, he did average 35 points, 13 rebounds, 5
He was
assists.
Great. But if you're just going to look at raw numbers, be like, well, Giannis averaged this. What did LeBron and Kyrie do in those finals in that 3-1 comeback?
Oh, LeBron was the first ever person to lead in every statistical category in the NBA final.
So I'm not giving full credit to – if you're not going to give full credit to Vogel and Budenholzer for their coaching job, I have a hard time giving full credit to Tyronn Lue. I think Tyronn Lue's a great coach. I do think he's a great coach.
But do you think he's better than Frank Vogel and Mike Budenholzer? I do.
I don't think any coach in the NBA is all that good. I think
there's only a few coaches better than Tyronn Lue.
I think
Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is better than Tyronn Lue. I think Greg Popovich is better than Tyronn Lue, but Greg Popovich, he might be on his way out.
I mean, he is. He's already retired.
Yeah, he's gone. So, so Steve Kerr, that's really the only person who has like the resume that I think exceeds what Tyronn Lue was able to accomplish.
I think Tyronn Lue is a good coach. I think Vogel is a good coach. I think Budenholzer is good. I think they're all flawed. They're all flawed coaches. I don't think there is a perfect coach out there. Popovich and Kerr have their flaws as well. Mark Daniel has his flaws. They're all flawed coaches, but you can't say that Vogel and Budenholzer don't have just as much success as Tyronn Lue, whether or not they're good coaches or not. Like they've had similar success to Tyronn Lue. If you look at the roster, is the Clippers roster? I don't think the Suns roster is great, but they've got Devin Booker. Devin Booker's better than James Harden at these stages of their careers. He's better. Bradley Beal is debatable, but when Bradley Beal came over from Washington, no one looked at Bradley Beal and was like, oh, this is a player who sucks. They looked at Bradley Beal, like, oh, this is a 25-point per game scorer joining Devin Booker.
Sometimes when these players that's average 25 on the loser Wizards, they come to a good team, they turn into the player that they always really were.
Oh, it's certainly a sacrifice, and they're not going to be that same player. But you're talking about, again, raw stats when it comes to Kevin Durant. Oh, he averaged this many points. Okay, but how many games did they win? Him averaging 27 in Phoenix and winning just as much games as the Wizards is the same as Bradley Beal averaging 27 in Washington. They ain't going anywhere regardless of how many points they're scoring. Right?
They got a couple of more wins than the Wizards, to be fair.
The Beal Wizards? The Bradley Beal Wizards? Let's see how many games the Bradley Beal Wizards won in his final season. I don't think it was much. They were 35 and 47 in his final season. Phoenix was 36 and 46. So I said it wasn't much. It was literally one. It was
one more win. One more win.
These are just empty numbers on bad teams.
If they were in the Eastern Conference, they'd be pushing for that 10 spot. They'd be pushing for that 10 spot.
These are just bad. They're just putting up empty numbers on bad teams. My argument for Kawhi is he influences winning more at this stage of his career than Kevin Durant. That's my whole argument for him.
I don't agree with that.
Okay. All right.
I think if KD was on the Clippers, they'd win just as many games.
Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. Harden, I mean, we saw what Harden and Durant did in their season together. It was good. That was also 3-4 years ago. Kevin Durant's not the same guy. James Harden's not the same guy.
Kevin Durant probably changed his sneaker size, or we'd be having a whole different conversation.
Will asking, would I take back KD on the Thunder for a final season of his career? If he's willing to take a pay cut and wants to come here and come off the bench, sure. Yeah, KD can come back, come off the bench, be the sixth man. He'd be great. I would take him back.
Sixth man?
Who's he starting over? He's not starting on this team. Who's he starting over?
I guess you're right. Who's your starting lineup is Shea, Dort, J-Dub, Chet,
and Hartenstein.
And who's? I mean, I would just move Chet to the center and then play KD at power forward.
Now, then Case and Wallace starts or Caruso starts.
That's wild. That's wild.
We're not starting Kevin Durant. The point of our, double big lineup is the defensive rim protection. And then we cycle in our bench guys. We bring in Kaysen, we bring in Caruso, and then we KD over Chet.
Yeah, wild. Y'all wild for that.
No, it would be what SB3 said. You slide Chet down to the 5 and you start KD at the 4. That is 100%.
Yeah, that's 100% what you would do. I know you're joking. like it's pretty simple what you do. You just play KD at the 4 and then move Chet. Yeah. Chet, I've said it once, I will say it again. Will y'all stop disrespecting the best American white in pro basketball? Best American pro white, the best white boy in the best Caucasian in the NBA, Chet Holmgren. That's disrespectful. He got the white boy pass, man. He's got the monarch of the best American white in pro basketball, at least until Cooper Flag starts playing.
No, I don't mean that'll be soon. That'll be soon. All right. I don't have too many arguments on your club superstar outside of the points that I make. I love how we turn that into a whole 20-minute argument between Kawhi and KD.
It's like 30 minutes.
Durant's not starting over Chet. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, y'all wilding.
Our best lineup is Chet at the center. Everyone knows our best lineup is Chet at the center. We start the double big lineup because it's just started the entire season and Mark just doesn't want to change it. But that's why it never plays again after the first 5 minutes of the game. Mark doesn't even start it in the second half. He's like, anyway, go out there, Caruso. Go out there, Kaysen. Hartenstein comes off the bench in the second half because our best lineup is Chet at the center. Sometimes Dub at the center, but it's one of them on the floor. It's never both of them. The double big lineup isn't great, all told. Like it's fine, but it isn't great. I don't know how it's gonna work in the finals because Mitchell Robinson hurt the Pacers on the offensive glass. So I do think that Hartenstein can hurt the Pacers on the offensive glass in a similar way. I'm nervous for Thursday, SP3.
We're gonna be all right. We got this. We got this. I'm 4 wins away from being right. That's all that matters. Who cares about championships? I just need to be right. We're 4 wins away.
I need this.
I'm looking forward to this series. I think this series is gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of really good basketball being played. If y'all could get by game one is always the tricky part with the Pacers. If y'all can get by game one and stand on their neck, if you got them down, then y'all be fine. But I think that's the only thing that y'all have to really worry about, because I think the Thunder. And it's crazy that the key trades of the last 2 seasons, last year. The key trade of the entire season that dictated who the NBA champions is going to be is the Drew Holiday trade that got Drew Holiday going to the Boston Celtics. And for this season, it was Alex Caruso getting traded for Josh Giddey to come to the Thunder. That made the Thunder just a complete defensive powerhouse to go along with their great scoring on offense.
I'm glad the Thunder are playing as well as they are, because as a fan, I love to see it. That trade was always so good. People, when Giddey had his triple doubles, and apologies, when he was hitting, shots against the Lakers and everything, people were like, oh, the Thunder lost this trade. The Thunder lost it. It's, again, guys are just looking at stats. Putting up empty stats for a Bulls team isn't going anywhere. Alex Caruso changed the entire identity of the defense. It was already a good defense last year. It was already a great defense last year. Alex Caruso came in and made this a historically great defense. Him, and I'll throw in Hartenstein as well, because he deserves a big credit, considering Chet missed essentially the majority of the season, and Hartenstein filled in perfectly as the starting center. So it changed from a very good defense, a great defense last year, to a historically great defense with Caruso. People are like, oh, Giddey, triple doubles, look at him. Like, all right, cool. Alex Caruso wasn't brought in to score 10 points and dish 10 rebounds and grab 10 boards. He was brought in to make life miserable for the other team on the defensive end. And that's exactly what he's done. It was the perfect trade. Oh, I can't describe to you my reaction when this trade went down. I don't remember if we did like an emergency FMC or anything, but I think
we did do an FMC like shortly after the trade. We did do an FMC, and I think that was when I was like, I think the Thunder won the championship. I think that was when I really was on board, on the bandwagon for Thunder's going to win this championship. That was the difference.
I was like, we got Alex Caruso for. Go ahead.
No, I was letting you go ahead.
I don't know if I froze. Okay.
I think you're delayed.
I was like, we got Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, and we didn't attach. Okay. All right. Apologies. We got Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey and didn't have to attach any picks. We have all these draft picks. We didn't have to attach a single one. And we got Alex Caruso, the best defender in the league. Yeah, this was a win.
Big win for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just I feel for the Pacers. I think the Pacers are going to play them well, a lot better than the Knicks had any shot of playing the Thunder. So I like I told you last week, I got into a whole debate with my nephew over he thinks that the Pacers are going to get swept, and I'm not convinced. My prediction before Thursday is Thunder in 6. That's my official prediction.
Pacers in 7.
Oh, now this.
I want to, like, I'm optimistic. I can't. I refuse to get too optimistic. I just can't do it. I'm going to be miserable in the entire next couple of weeks. I just am going to be absolutely miserable. We could be up 3-0. I'm going to be miserable. I don't care. I'm going to be miserable at 3-0. Just, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. I don't apologize to anyone here. I apologize to my wife. She has to deal with me.
Yes, I pray for her.
All right, wrestling, allegedly. We'll start with New Japan.
Okay.
Kosei Fujita did win the New Japan Best of Super Juniors 32, defeated Yo in the finals. I don't think this is match of the year. I do think if it is in your top 5 right now, I don't really have an argument against it. Again, you were much better on the match stuff than me. Kenny and Gabe is the one I continue to go back to. Ospreay and Hangman, obviously from just last week, really stands out. But Fujita and Yo is top 5. Like, am I crazy for that? Or
I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy at all. We talked about it on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel yesterday, me, Sanal, and Jay News, and we tried to keep it strictly to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I said, like, I think that the only New Japan matches that are better than Yo versus Fujita are in that same kind of discussion. Kenny and Gabe, I think, is unquestionably the best match that's happened in New Japan. I think the Gabe and Yota Tsuji matchup from New Beginning was fantastic. I thought of course, Goto's win over Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the best stories of the year. But then after that, I think it's Fujita and Yo, like, because of the expectations that we had and how far they exceeded those expectations. And that had to be the hottest crowd of the year. Like, I thought that Goto and Zack Sabre Jr. at Osaka at New Beginning had the craziest crowd reaction, but this crowd was completely going bonkers towards the final stretch, the final 10 minutes of this matchup. And I love the layered storytelling. I love when you can see a story kind of forming from the very beginning and how they layer it on top of each other, because you had the visual storytelling of Yo and Fujita coming in with the taped up arms from the damage that had been done to them throughout the tournament. And then you had Yo telling his own story and the maturation of Yo, who was kind of like built from the very beginning when he came in with Roppongi 3K. It was him and Sho were kind of pegged as like the future of the junior heavyweight division. And both guys have not really reached the heights that a lot of people set out for them when they returned from excursion as Roppongi 3K. And at 36 years old, he's the veteran in this matchup, and he's coming off the heels of Chaos, and a lot of the different factions throughout New Japan have kind of been defunct this year, whether it be Los Ingobernables de Japón with Tetsuya Naito's departure, whether it be just 4 guys joining up with Hontai, or whether it be Chaos disbanding and joining up with Hontai, and him just telling that story of, I'm paying tribute, I'm paying homage to every single primary member of Chaos. Him going for the Rainmaker in the opening minute and missing it. Him doing the Yano hair pull down and then the Yano pose with his lips to the side, looking all goofy. Him doing the headhunter blockbuster of Yoshihashi and doing the butterfly lock at one point. Him doing Ushigoroshi and then the one-man Shoto as a tribute to Hiroki Goto. And then the numerous times he would go for the Rainmaker throughout this matchup. It was so well done with that homage and those tributes that he played throughout the matchup. And then the fact that he had no one from the Hontai or Chaos faction in his corner, while Kosei Fujita had the entire TMDK in his corner. That was also a bit of storytelling being told there, especially when he starts, when Fujita locks up the arms, and then he goes for the Zack Sabre Jr. style submission where he has both arms locked, and then he goes for the leg, and Zack's like coaching him on the side. He's like, yes, dude, go to the side, grab his leg like a proud papa was coaching from the sidelines for a kid in his pee-wee basketball game. That was awesome from Zack, adding to the storytelling being told in this matchup, and just how on fire this crowd was, who was firmly in the corner of Fujita, but through the performance and the passion, the intensity, and the just one of the greatest performances of his entire career from Yo, they got behind him as well. And then they're just going crazy for every reversal. You got the Rainmaker reversed into a Zack driver, and they just go ballistics on that. The fighting spirit when they're trading suplexes, and then finally Fujita hitting the abandoned hope and getting the near fall on that, and then hitting Thrill Ride for the 1-2-3. Unreal closing stretch from the crowd response to the action in the ring. This was like a near 5-star for me. I think the only thing that kept me from going full 5 stars on this one was the abandoned hope, the Thrill Ride not being hit all that like perfectly like he's done throughout the tournament. I think other than that, and I think that this match could have gone on for another 5 minutes and I wouldn't have complained at all. 28 minutes and it never felt like that at all. Like when you do hear the 25-minute call, you're like, really? It's been going on that long? I have not even realized that. It's just been great. I've just been involved in the action, and like me, Jay News, and Sanal, we all said like we were gripped on the. My daughter watching this with me as I'm watching it on the laptop, and I'm getting excited and I'm clapping. My daughter's like, yeah, do it again, Dada. Clap again. She's getting into it as well. Like she's getting hyped for it. That's when New Japan, man. New Japan is one of a kind with the way that it makes you feel during these type of matches, and this was one of them. So I have no argument for anyone who puts Yo versus Kosei Fujita in their top 5.
Yeah, I mean, you just broke it all down, but from start to finish, this match was absolutely fantastic, and they got to go with Fujita with this title, right? Like, yeah. I don't think you could miss on here. I know Despi's about to defend it against Jun Kasai at a deathmatch event, and you got to go ahead and make Fujita. You've already done it with this tournament. Now you got to go the step further and just put the title on him. Like, there should be no more waiting around of like, let's keep it on Desperado. He's been the mainstay and everything. Like, nah, you gotta actually go with him and give him a good reign, because so many of New Japan's title reigns are like 2 matches and then they take it off of him. Don't do that. Like, I'd have him hold it until at least Wrestle Kingdom, honestly. Like, have him beat all comers with this thing and give him a long, sustainable reign and really put more stock into the junior division, because for so many years, it just feels like it's been the same 3 guys with that title. Go with someone new and actually make him off of this tournament and off of this match.
Yeah, and there's like so many different matches that they can go to with Fujita as the champion, whether it be him versus Hiromu Takahashi, have Hiromu go one more time for the title. That would be a great Wrestle Kingdom matchup in itself. I mean, personally, I think the rivalry to go to for the junior heavyweight division to build 2 new stars would be Fujita versus Francisco Akira. I feel like those are the 2 kind of guys that are going to lead the charge for the junior heavyweight division to take them out of the era of the big 3 of Hiromu, Desperado, and Taiji Ishimori. But I think that, yeah, Fujita, I agree with you. He definitely is well deserving of winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. I just wish to God we could have had this matchup at Dominion. Why get, like, I understand Jun Kasai, it's on June 2024, but y'all are robbing Fujita of the opportunity to become the youngest IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion of all time. I know he set the record for youngest IWGP Junior Tag Team Champion, and then the youngest to win the Best of Super Juniors, but give him all the rewards. This man is a future star. Like, I feel like it's Tsuji for the heavyweight division and it's Fujita for the juniors.
I'm with you, and like, it does suck that the match isn't at Dominion, but hopefully they give Fujita a big stage on when it is going to happen. Because they haven't like officially announced the match, have they? Because they were waiting on Desperado and Jun Kasai.
The Death Pain Invitational.
Yeah. So hopefully they get a big show. That'll happen. What comes after Dominion? It's not the G1 yet.
No, they're doing the Soul Tour, which I would think that if you're gonna do it on there, you do a big Kurgan Hall show. That's the right place to do the matchup. Make that like a Kurgan Hall main event, because that's the only place I can like be like, okay, it's not on the big stage of the Dominion card, which, like, I said this on Lyric put up a post being upset about Fujita not getting the opportunity at Dominion, and I was like, yo, if this match, if Desperado versus Fujita, who've had two great matches, one for the junior heavyweight title earlier this year and then last year in the Best of Super Juniors, if that matchup was on this Dominion card would be a certified, it may be in the discussion with Double or Nothing as the show of the year. But I think it's still going to be great whenever it does happen, and the Dominion card is great altogether. But I feel like that would be the type of matchup you add, and it puts it over the top, where this has all the potential in the world to be the best New Japan show of the year, and it will be the best. It might be one of the best shows of the entire calendar year.
And then when Tetsuya Naito returns after Goto defeats Shingo Takagi in the main event of Dominion, it will be the best show of the year. Naito's going to come out in his shirt, just not take it off at all, confront Goto, and that's going to be the setup. Naito's not competing in the G1, mind you. He's going to beat Goto, win the title, and not compete in the G1. Just take the summer off. Wait, let all these dudes beat each other up in the G1. Wait for the winner.
That's be perfect. Be so Naito for that. Did you watch the match that it would probably be close to your heart of Evil versus Gato?
I didn't know. I only watched the final, so I didn't catch the rest of the show. I should watch Evil versus Gato.
You of all people would love Gato versus Evil.
Yeah, that does sound right up my alley.
He kidnapped Dick Togo and tied him to the entranceway. He hit him with some cookie sheets and kendo sticks. They ran over poor Rocker Stewart at one point.
People are going to come around on Evil, at Dominion especially. He's going to have an 8-star match with David Finlay in this dog collar chain death match. Just wait, everybody. They're going to go out there and they're going to have one of the best matches of the year. It's going to be better than Kenny and Gabe, better than Ospreay and Hangman, better than Fujita and Yo. And people are going to put some respect on Evil's name after this performance.
I don't know why you say these things all the time. As far as my my best matches of the year, I have a top 4 right now. I don't know if I'll have a top 5 maybe soon. I'm not even going to allow you to finish that. Number 1 is Ospreay and Hangman from Double or Nothing. 2 is Kenny and Gabe from Wrestle Dynasty. 3 is the Hollywood ending, Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May. And 4 is Saya Kamitani versus Tam Nakano's retirement from All-Star Grand Queendom. Those are my top 4 for sure. Those are locked in. Those are locked in. Maybe there'll be a new match that supersedes that. You know, we got All In coming up. Maybe your Summer Slams of the world. Something will come up there that can bypass that. I'm trying to be non biased. I'm trying to be non biased here, Jeremy. Help a brother out. Help a brother out. I'm saying that WWE, they have a chance, or Evolution with Io and Stephanie Vaquer, or Stephanie Vaquer and Rhea Ripley happen there. You know, maybe they'll have a match that bypass that. But for now, those are my top 4 matches of the year. Fifth, if I had to throw in a fifth one, fifth, I love the Goto and Zack Sabre Jr. matchup from New Beginning. Anarchy in the Arena is up there for me. Let me look at my
women's triple threat from Mania.
From Mania,
the main event, either triple threat from Mania.
Ospreay versus Takeshita from Spring Breakthrough. Yeah. Ospreay versus Fletcher Steel Cage from Revolution. And the Suji versus Kid matchup from New Beginning. Those are like the matches that I've given 5 stars to. So,
okay.
I love that. SP3 hates WWE and women SMH when I name 2 women's matches in the top 4 for this year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can the WWE one. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll say
the women's triple threat is in my top 10.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, I'll say that, yeah, SP3 hates WWE. I'll play along with that bit. I can't play along with SP3 hates women's wrestling when 2 of his top 4 matches were women's matches. Can't play along with that bit. But WWE, sure, I can play along.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. That's fine.
Raw last night, speaking of hating WWE. Stephanie Vaquer is the thumbnail here because she qualified for Money in the Bank. I saw you guys officially
debuted on Raw.
Yeah, officially. She's wrestled 2 matches on Raw. Like,
officially.
Yeah. Why wasn't JC Jane called up? She beat this loser Stephanie Vaquer. Like,
I don't understand these prologues. Why do they have prologues of like where they're on these main roster shows for like a month and then they officially get called up and officially signed to these shows? Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah. They do like the announcement, like Adam Pearce announces Stephanie Vaquer has joined the roster. This is like Friday afternoon. He announces, maybe it's Saturday. And then they announce the match. And then they do before the show, Stephanie Vaquer officially signs her contract. And then they do the video for her. It's like, she's been on Raw multiple times. She's won matches on Raw. She pinned the same person she pinned in the triple threat last night in a singles match on Raw. Like, we know who she is. And it's not like we know who she is because she's been on NXT. Like, you've put her on Raw. You've done all of this. I think this is what people get upset about when they say like WWE, they like force feed you everything and they make sure you know this stuff. This is the kind of stuff that like I can actually agree with. Of all right, we really got to do like all of this for Stephanie. I mean, for Stephanie, sure, but they do this for so many people. It's like, do we got to do all of this? Everybody, we know who these people are. They've literally been on these television shows. It's fine. It's good. We get it. I'm glad Stephanie won. This women's lineup is fantastic. It's a good mix of the veterans who are super over and the next up people. Like, it's a really strong lineup. I feel like it's Naomi's to win or lose. I think Naomi makes a lot of sense. But you could tell me it's Alexa. You could tell me it's Vaquer. You could tell me it's Julia. And literally anyone you put this thing on. I think the biggest complaint people will have is if it's Rhea, because Rhea is just always involved in the title picture. But then you want to just look at reactions, and like Rhea continues to get the biggest reactions. So even if they went with Rhea, couldn't even be like, that's a bad move, because she's still the biggest star of all 6 of these women. But I don't think there's a wrong choice here in this Money in the Bank match.
I think that they're there would be a wrong choice because
Okay.
Rhea Ripley doesn't need it. So I
Yeah,
think
I'm
that
with
would be a wrong choice. And Alexa Bliss doesn't really need it. Alexa Bliss already won a Money in the Bank in the past. I think any of the other four though, those are viable kind of good people to put the Money in the Bank briefcase on who can make the most of it. Naomi, in my opinion, is the best character in the WWE Women's division right now. That promo segment on SmackDown, oh, I loved it so much. I loved it so much. Her saying that she broke into Bianca's house and then Bianca telling her off and then she cries and then goes like, and then has that smirk on her face. I was like, oh my God, she is insane. She is out of her ever-loving mind. I love it. I love this woman right now. And the red hair just adds to the mystique of her being like this off her rocker style character right now. She would be great with the Money in the Bank briefcase right now. Julia is someone that needs kind of a boost now that she's on the main roster, and I feel like she's the one out of like the three that's in this matchup that recently got called up. She's the one that I'm worried about the most as far as what's her future gonna look like if she doesn't get a big push initially. But I think that she could survive not winning this matchup because she is kind of already kind of put her attentions on the WWE Women's United States Championship, and I think she's going to win that from Zelina.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zelina, that's what you get for blocking me. Roxanne Perez.
Why did she block you?
Because I complained about her booking. Me and Joel had a whole DM chat about this where I was just like, I just think she's very sensitive. I don't know if she realizes that not everybody complaining about you on Twitter is about you. It might be about how you're booked, which is me being a fan of yours and complaining about the way you've been booked. But she didn't understand that, and I got blocked. Even though I've interviewed her in the past, it's ridiculous. That's what she needs to lose this title. I'm sorry, like it is what. Roxanne Perez, I think she has the best story. If she wins or loses, she has the best story right now with everything going on with the Judgment Day, because the Judgment Day has been getting like a lot of the focus as like the second biggest story going on Monday Night Raw right now. So I think she'd be good either way. And then Stephanie Vaquer, I mean, she's the type of woman that you just push. You push her to the moon and you don't stop until something stops you outside of yourself. Push her to the moon. The fact that she's going to be on both shows on Saturday shows that WWE sees a lot in her. And I think that they should give her the briefcase 1000%. So like, but the big favorites for me going into Saturday has to be either Stephanie Vaquer or Naomi. So I agree with your Naomi point. I think she's the one that it would be kind of cool to go along with her character right now. She has to be considered like the favorite, but Stephanie Vaquer is right up there for me.
I think it should be Naomi. As I said, I'm fine with any of them. Like, I think there's a good argument for any of them. And I do agree with you. Rhea and Alexa have the weakest arguments. The arguments for them is basically they're the two most over people in this match. So let's just put the briefcase on the most over people. Like, story-wise, they have the least need for it because it just feels like Rhea can get a title shot anytime she wants. We literally saw that earlier this year where she lost and then just cried and stole a contract and got her title shot. And Alexa, it feels like she can walk in and get a title shot anytime she wants as well. So story-wise, yeah, they're the least who probably need it. But again, if you want to say like, well, they're the most over, I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, put it on the most over people.
I mean, they must have not been watching last night's Monday Night Raw because Stephanie Vaquer was over like Rover. My God. Like I thought the pop that she got for the Raw after WrestleMania was crazy because she's not been around that long. And I was like, wow, okay, the main roster crowd know about her. But man, they were over for her in Tulsa. And they even did the Booker T. They were better than Pat McAfee.
Yeah, they were the second one, they were definitely counting because they got mad when Ivy, I think it was Ivy, whoever she was doing it to, the other person interrupted it. I think she was doing it to Liv, and Ivy interrupted it. Yeah, they were counting on the second one. The first one, it sounded more like they were going, I don't know what the hell Pat McAfee was doing. He's got it.
I was like, what are you? What are you, a Bullet Club war dog? What the hell are you doing?
He's got to stop. He's got to stop. Like, that was awful. He's like, oh, shout out to Booker T. And it's like, all right, like, one, you can't do it like Booker. Sorry. Like, you ain't got that. You ain't got enough goon in you to do it like Booker T. I'm sorry. That's just years of gooning pent up with Booker T there. Pat McAfee ain't got it like that. I don't know what McAfee was doing. It was terrible, though. It was terrible. I do like that the crowd has just like the NXT crowd was catching on with it. Like, now the main roster crowd has caught on with it. I got no issues with when Booker T does it. I think it's hilarious. Like,
it is hilarious.
Booker T legitimately pops me with his commentary. I know people don't like it. Like, he pops me with his commentary.
I don't think Booker T is a good wrestling commentator, but there's no denying. There's no denying he's a very entertaining commentator. So that's all you have to be sometimes in pro wrestling. You don't have to get the logistics right. You don't have to put over the talent in the way he does. But when he does do that effectively too. But he's just effortlessly entertaining. So Booker, out of all the color commentators, not named Wade Barrett, if I had to choose between Booker T and Pat McAfee, I'm picking Booker T every single time.
Yeah, Booker's great for NXT, 100%. Like, he's fantastic for NXT, and I don't have an issue with Booker T's commentary. I will miss. Now he's got to come up with something else now that Vaquer's gone, and he's got to come up with some more commentary calls for everybody else. Once Trick goes, then Booker's he might be struggling a little bit.
He's like, no Roxanne, no Stephanie, no Trick. Goddamn. Took everything away from me.
Follow B sends a super chat and he says, vanilla fumble is what we call when a match ends clean on WWE TV.
I'm vanilla, baby.
We did have our DQ of the night, as we would expect.
And I knew it was gonna be that one. I was like, hey, they announced this match late in the game too, and I was just like, yeah, that's probably the DQ of the night.
They went a week because they just booked a bunch of triple threat matches. And so they were like, we can get around the DQ by booking triple threat matches. And then this week they couldn't book enough triple threat matches. They're like, shit, we got to do a DQ again. Yes. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed DQ finish against against Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, because they didn't want to beat Jey and they didn't want to beat the new team. And I guess they didn't want to beat Sami. I love Sami. You could have beat Sami in this match. My wife has walked in at the time where she's the biggest Sami Zayn fan, and she's already disagreeing with me. You could have beat Sami Zayn in this match. It would have been fine. The world would have kept moving. It would have been okay.
You could have had Gunther interfere to have Jey Uso lose, and
I wouldn't even need that.
Have one of the Braun sons win.
I wouldn't even need Jey or Gunther interfering. Just beat Sami. It's okay. They're supposed to be a big dominant heel group. Have Seth. You got to do interference in every match regardless. So have Seth and Heyman cost Sami. Bronson and Braun win. Do the beat, and then Punk makes the save. Plays out the exact same way. It's fine. You could have beaten Sami Zayn. It would have been okay. It was dumb that they didn't do it. But we got the interference. And then that led way to the main event with CM Punk, AJ Styles, and El Grande Americano, where more interference and El Grande Americano pins AJ Styles. Very surprising. Wait, what? El Grande? Isn't you had AJ Styles and CM Punk right there and El Grande? My theory is that CM Punk and AJ Styles were like, we ain't working no ladder match.
Punk said I ain't working no goddamn ladder match.
Styles and Punk were like, we're too old for this shit. Do you know how many ladder matches we've done in our careers? Do you know how many big bumps we've taken in our careers? Old Gable can do that. That's fine. Chad can work that ladder match. We're good. We'll lose this triple threat match.
They probably push back and be like, you know, Chad has to work it in the main event of Worlds Collide. It was like, not our problem. Not our problem.
Yeah, that's my theory, is that they were like, nah, we ain't working a ladder match. Sorry. Chad, you win. Maybe CM Punk and AJ Styles read that Hangman and Ospreay were pushing for other people to win. We're pushing for each other to win. And they were like, you know what? Wrestling has changed. Let's leave our past selves behind, because our past selves would have been like, yeah, I should win this match. Yeah, I should win the briefcase. Yeah, I should win the title. We're going to leave that in the past. The new CM Punk, the new AJ Styles, let's put it on the younger guy. Let's put it on this upstart, El Grande Americano. He should get this briefcase, because we are just too old for these ladder matches, and we understand that is about who has next. Imagine CM Punk backstage. Hangman Page was right. Hangman Page, he has it right. Put over the other guy.
I had him wrong. From the start, guys.
Had that guy pegged. Had that peg warmer pegged wrong.
That peg warmer. He's not that empty-headed, dumb. I had him wrong all
Maybe
along.
there is a brain in that empty-headed dumb fuck.
Maybe there is one. I mean, this wouldn't be the first time that they looked at something in AEW and decided to do a riff off that, because the opening segment was basically the Ospreay Swerve Hangman of I know we have our issues, but let's work together to go against the heel faction.
Yeah.
I thought Sammy was the better of the two in the opening segment. Like I saw some people that were
Sammy's always better in these segments.
I mean, yes, but some people believe CM Punk is one of the greatest mic workers of all time, which he is. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think this was his A+ material here on this show. And Sammy just came out and knocked it out the park and made that a good opening segment.
Yeah, I thought they were both good. When during that opening segment, though, I was like, "Oh, Punk's losing. Punk's not winning this triple threat in the Mania. He's just not." And then when that interference happened during the tag, I was even more
yeah. That's when I peeped game. It's like, okay, maybe there is a shot. Maybe, like Sammy giving him the pet talk. But then when he gets involved, and this is like the show long narrative, is Punk and Sammy in the opening segment. Then the middle of the show is that tag team matchup with them all interacting. And then Seth says, "Oh, we know where he's going to be so we can get our revenge later in the night." And I was like, why are you saying that on camera so everyone can hear you? I would have expected the baby faces to be a little bit more prepared than they were. They came out late. So, but. And then, the end there. And I loved Cole talking about El Grande Americano. He wanted to say Americano was loading up the mask, but then he didn't even mention that the mask was loaded on the finish.
I thought they did.
No, I don't think they did.
Oh, I thought maybe I was just
like he was about to say it because he was stuffing it in his mask in the background because they did a good camera angle for it. He was about to say it and he cut off. And then when he hits him with the headbutt at the end, I think he said something, but I don't think he mentioned that it was that we saw him load up the mask.
Wow, I thought he did mention that the mask was loaded. Oh, maybe I was mishearing things, but El Grande Americano wins regardless. It's kind of surprising. Not surprising that it wasn't Punk, but kind of surprising that it was El Grande Americano.
I mean, the field for the men's one is a lot less interesting because I think that there's an issue with everyone who wins this, who could potentially win this Money in the Bank.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, unless you got long-term plans for Solo, Penta, Andrade, and El Grande Americano, I don't see them winning this thing at all. Because none of them scream like, yeah, that's going to be the guy in the immediate future. Because you got to think, as much as Jey Uso is a champion that people are behind, but certain people are look at him as a weaker champion because he has to tell us every single week that he's a weaker champion. These guys ain't beating Cena for that title. So, all right, Solo, yeah, you can make an argument he cashes in on Jay, but then okay, Solo, Penta, don't see it. Andrade, don't see it. El Grande, I don't see it with any of these guys. So you got to think long term of 2026 when they might be cashing this thing in. LA Knight, doesn't make sense to cash in on Jay, but could make some sense to cash in. Let's say Gunther gets the title back. Could make some sense to cash in on Gunther. Seth is obviously the guy, the marquee name who has been there, won the title, storyline wise, makes a lot of sense to win this thing. Those are the top two. Seth 100% makes the most sense. LA Knight makes sense from we're going to finally get behind LA Knight and it's going to be his time. The other four, I'm like, ugh.
I literally had that discussion with Rick Eugenio because Rick made a good point where he was like, he thinks that it's now or never for LA Knight and that LA Knight is his pick to win. And I was just like, to me, it feels like too little too late on LA Knight. He's not as over as he was going into last year's Money in the Bank. He's definitely not as over as he was going into the 2023 Money in the Bank in London. And just giving him the briefcase now and him eventually winning the Money in the Bank and then eventually cashing in, I don't think that's going to make him the main eventer that they think it's going to do. I don't think he can do the same thing that Damian Priest was able to do with the Money in the Bank. Yeah, I agree with Draws in the chat, saying he's lost a lot of steam. Yes. He's not as over as he was 2 years ago. So to me, it's very much of too little too late. It's Joe Hendry winning the TNA World title at Genesis instead of Bound for Glory. Except there's 2 years instead of 2 months in between the time when he was at his peak.
I think you can heat up LA Knight enough again, especially with the briefcase, to get him. He's not going to be as over as he was a couple of years ago. That was those were some peak level pops that he was getting. I think you can at least heat him up enough because he might not be as over as he once was. They haven't completely killed him, though.
No.
I'm looking at a Solo Sikoa, and I'm like, what are we supposed to do?
I think there's at least a story there. I feel like Solo is the most interesting that could win the Money in the Bank. I find I think the Solo and Bloodline stuff is still the best thing about SmackDown. It still is, despite them not wanting to call them the Bloodline anymore. The Bloodline is still the most interesting thing on the show. And Solo having the briefcase, they could play with the fact that Jacob Fatu. They're trying to come up with the rhetoric and the narrative that Jacob Fatu is the real main champion on SmackDown. You could tease someone going after a mid-card title again, which is not the most enthusing thing. But you can also talk about Solo cashing in on Jey Uso. Solo's trying to bring Jimmy Uso into his bloodline, and he can get the World Heavyweight Championship and say, see, you don't need your brother anymore. You need this brother. I'm the brother that you need. I'm the brother that's a champion. Why didn't you come out and celebrate with me like you did with Jay at WrestleMania? There's so many things that you could do there. I like Solo. Out of all the choices here, I like Solo winning, but I think there's no shot Solo's winning. Also at the same time.
I do agree with you. I think the story-wise, there is something there with Solo. But they've beaten that man so much that I just can't get behind him holding the briefcase. This is why I don't think you can do it in 2025. It feels like it has to be a more long-term thing with him in the briefcase. Same with Penta. Same with El Grande Americano. Here's something for you, SB3. This is a Ring of Hallucinations type idea. Solo wins the briefcase, right? The big dog, the tribal chief. He's no longer the big chief. Comes back. He meets up with Solo. So I see you got that briefcase. What if he trades the Ulafala for the briefcase? And Roman takes the briefcase. Solo gets the Ulafala. So he's the real tribal chief now, which is all he really wants. He didn't care about this briefcase. What's the world title? Who cares about the world title when you got the Ulafala?
He cashes in on the Ulafala.
Okay. I see the vision. All right. I guess Roman would have to show up to be cashed in on. That's the problem.
That was the key. That was the key for Austin Theory having a botch briefcase run. So yeah, I feel like Seth is kind of like a no-brainer. Seth is obviously the odds-on favorite to win.
That seems too obvious almost.
Yeah, that's the thing with Seth winning. It just feels way too obvious, and it's like, does Seth Rollins need the briefcase? No. So this would be 2 years in a row where you kind of just gave the briefcase to guys who are already basically made men, because they gave it to Drew last year, and that was really just a prop in the CM Punk Drew McIntyre rivalry. And then this year, Seth winning would just be a prop in the Dangerous Alliance storyline. So let's actually make somebody. So despite my issues with LA Knight winning, at least that's making somebody, and with the intention of him winning Money in the Bank as a big win to elevate him to the main event status. Solo Sikoa is the most interesting in my eyes, because that's once again a guy that, yeah, he was in a lot of main events last year, but he's not a made man main eventer right now. So this would prop him back up and elevate him back up to that status and put more of a spotlight on the ongoing bloodline story with Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo as well. Penta's like a dark horse, but it feels too soon for him. And I think Americano, Andrade, no shot.
I think if Seth Rollins wins the briefcase, he doesn't make it past Monday with it.
Yeah.
I think he cashes in basically what they did last year, but what they did with Seth and the heist of the century, he cashes in, makes it a triple threat. And I think he succeeds where Drew McIntyre failed last year. I think Seth wins the briefcase. If he wins the briefcase, this is not my official prediction. If Seth wins the briefcase, he cashes in on Raw during Jay and Gunther, and he wins the title on Raw. So that's how I see it playing out if he wins the briefcase.
Yeah, I can see that, and they set it up perfectly with the way they did the show closing angle with the Dangerous Alliance laying out all the baby faces, and then giving Jay two tsunamis on Jay to close out the show, to kind of give him more damage heading into the tag team matchup at Money in the Bank with him and Cody versus Cena and Logan Paul, and then also for the World Heavyweight Championship matchup next week against Gunther, which I thought they did nice subtle storytelling with that, with the video package that I thought was really well done, and then the backstage segment where basically kind of put over the story of the show, which is everyone is not focused. Focus was the whole show long narrative about everything. Punk wasn't focused on his Money in the Bank qualifying match. That's why he lost. Jey Uso's not focused on the World Heavyweight Championship matchup next week because he's got the tag team matchup at Money in the Bank. He's worried about the Dangerous Alliance on Monday Night Raw. That was basically the theme of the show, especially with the main event scene. So I like that little subtle backstage segment, but I don't like the fact that it just feels like Gunther is so not going to win this world championship. And it feels like they're slowly but surely neutering Gunther into becoming an upper mid-carder.
Well, he got taken to the limit by Pat McAfee and then showed respect to Pat McAfee. That was the dumbest booking decision.
It really was. I really haven't looked at him the same since Backlash.
Gonna show Pat McAfee respect. Should have kept kicking the shit out of him. Get real heel heat. God forbid someone get real heel heat out there. We got to get a "This is awesome" chant. That's all people care.
All you have to
Oh,
do is like 2 cool moves for a WWE audience to get "This is awesome" chant.
we got a lot of "We want truth" chants throughout the night.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
Good. I mean, good on the OKC crowd. They should have been chanting MVP, and they should have been barking as well. But good on the OKC crowd for chanting "We want truth." I saw CM Punk acknowledge the chants after the show. He said, "What gives you the right to chant for someone who's not here?" Good pop by Punk.
Yes, good stuff. Good stuff.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna change anything. Like I still think it's really gonna change anything. They've made their decision, and I hope fans continue to chant it. I hope fans continue to bring signs and everything. Maybe it'll lead to him coming back. But I feel like if he comes back, it's because he took a lesser deal than what was maybe offered. And I don't love that either. Because he should get the same, if not more, than what his deal was already for. It shouldn't just be like, oh, he's coming back because the fans miss him and he's just going to take a lesser deal because they care about their bottom line. So, but if he gets back on TV and he's happy with the deal, then fine. But I'm glad the crowd chanted for him, though. It shows that so much of the releases and things typically stay like sort of in the online-ish bubble, and it feels like sometimes we don't see it play out on television outside of like a little reference. But the crowd certainly doesn't like reference it with chants or anything. This is not a knock on anybody who has been released. The NXT crowd was not chanting "We want Cora" or anything like that. So for the WWE crowd to chant "We want R-Truth" or "We want truth" was a positive sign that it is like this was actually something big. This was a huge mistake that you guys made.
Yeah, it really feels like a defining moment in regards to WWE in the ongoing perception war. And a lot of people don't like when I talk about the perception war, but it is a real thing. It is a real thing how the fans react to you. And for the last 2-3 years, WWE audiences have been very playing along with what's going on screen. They react to what they need to react to. They pop big. Sometimes you'll get an off crowd that isn't into the show as much as another crowd, but for the most part, they've been in front of hot crowds that's enjoying the action, that loves the twists and turns, that loves the storytelling, that never wants to fight back, never wants to show any type of like hijacking or any resentment towards the product. And this was a first sign that this might have been a move that changes that, because it started off small with the opening segment with the "Rerun Truth" chants, and then they got into the promo between Punk and Sammy. But of course, with WWE crowds, they never know the right moment to do it. I don't like the fact that the two most prominent "We Want Truth" chants happened in the two women's matches. That's like I wanted it more.
Chants during Lyra and Becky is like, can y'all shut up? Can we not do what chants just ever? But specifically, when you've already done the "We Want Truth" chants during women's matches, and now you're going to do the "What" chants during Lyra's promo, like that was bad on the OKC crowd. Those weren't Thunder fans. We do not claim them.
But yeah, I think that's a sign that that people don't like this decision. They R-Truth is somebody that's kind of been a part of the furniture, and I'm someone that wasn't always a fan of how R-Truth was used on TV. And I made my jokes and I cracked my jokes about them choosing to do the R-Truth versus John Cena matchup. And mainly a lot of my criticism was because I expected how they were going to use it, and it was pretty much worse than that. It was worse than it was the whole treatment of the storyline. It could have been a longer term storyline if Truth, was extended. His deal was extended or renewed. It could have been a longer term storyline where he's helping John Cena, and then John Cena eventually turns on him, and then we can have a meaningful rivalry or meaningful matchup between John Cena and R-Truth. Nothing about the John Cena and R-Truth program makes any sense with R-Truth now leaving and not having his contract renewed and being let go by WWE, because you could have done a lot more. Like, you could have made it Truth's career on the line, or Cena destroys Truth and that's the last we ever see of him, instead of doing the program that he did with Cena winning with a low blow and an AA and then hitting him with the title, and then Truth being on SmackDown last week, and his real final matchup is against JC Mateo in a 2-minute nothing matchup. I think that you could have done a lot more, and you could have got genuine heat on John Cena if you actually cared to make that rivalry and that program mean something. And you're seeing the kind of the feedback and the reaction that you're getting from the fans, you're getting from the people backstage. This is a move that is detrimental to the morale within WWE and the morale around WWE in regards to the fan perception and the fan reception to it. The fact that we're hearing these vocal "We Want Truth" chants, it may be just a 1-week thing. It may be just Oklahoma doing it, but if it's more than Oklahoma, if we get it on SmackDown this week, if we get it next week on Monday Night Raw, this could be like one of those crucial points that shows like WWE is losing this perception war, or losing their lead in the perception war right now.
I think they're already losing the perception war right now. Like, and granted, the perception war has nothing to do with business and ratings and all of that stuff. All it is how fans of the company view the company at this very moment. And AEW fans, I think for the most part, are pretty satisfied with what's going on in the company. There are some gripes, but overall, they're coming off a great pay-per-view, and everybody's behind Hangman Page. Everyone thinks that the Death Rider storyline is going to end at All In. At least Moxley's stranglehold on the title is going to end at All In. So they're riding high into that. Then Mercedes and Tony on the women's side, they're riding high into that. Like, could they do more with other women? Could they get some other feuds going in certain aspects? Sure. But it's still better than what fans are looking at with WWE, where their top champion, John Cena, a lot of it isn't good, and most fans think it's not good. And Jey Uso, nobody fully buys him as a champion. And then the stuff with Truth, Carlito, and as we found out yesterday, Sarah Logan, Valhalla, her contract is not being renewed either. So losing people, certainly with Truth and Carlito, fans aren't happy with that. Like, fans just aren't happy with that. I don't blame them. So I don't think whether the Truth stuff was fake love. Like, I sat up here and I said for weeks, I think the Truth feud was not good. I think it was a bad use of John Cena for his heel turn. I'm not going to go back on that just because Truth is now gone. It was a bad use of John Cena. If you're going to use Truth for this, one, I think your ideas suck. If that's how if one of your best ideas is, hey, let's put R-Truth in this spot, I think you should come up with better ideas. Two, I think that you should have booked it much better. And SP3 just gave some examples of how you could have done a better job with that. Maybe they didn't know. I have a hard time believing they didn't know Truth's contract wasn't coming up. Maybe they didn't know it wasn't going to get renewed, but I have a hard time believing they didn't know that there was a possibility that he wasn't going to return. And if they knew that, then they should have come up with something better. It wasn't a good use for John Cena in his final run and for his retirement tour to essentially waste a match on doing something like that. That does not mean that Truth didn't have a valuable role on the show. The stuff he did the last Friday, great use of Truth. Literally everything they've done with Truth has been a very good use of Truth. I personally just didn't, because of all the stuff they've done where they have made him a comedy character to try to insert him into John Cena's retirement run and do a match like that when John Cena only has so many matches left, didn't think it made a whole lot of sense. But people do love Truth. I think it's fake love at all. Just because people are upset that he was being used, I'll use a real sports analogy. Use a real sports analogy. I'll even use a Thunder analogy. After Game 6 against the Denver Nuggets, Jalen Williams played like trash in that game. By his own admission, he played like trash. He said he cost the team the game. He admitted that if I play better, we might win this game. I cost the team this game with his terrible shooting. A lot of fans were upset at how Jalen Williams played in that game. A lot of fans, real fans, fake fans, whatever you want to say, they may have turned on Jalen Williams. And then he plays great in Game 7, and he's played great in every game since then. And fans are now like, oh, we love Jalen. It's okay to be mad or upset after a player has a bad game and let that out there of, we don't like this guy after this game because he played like trash. Doesn't mean you were fully against him. Now, people who are like, we should trade him, like emotions run high. I get it. I don't think that's how a lot of the fan base really felt. A lot of the fan base upset over losing Game 6, upset over the way he played, and were upset at him. But it doesn't mean they dislike him. Same thing with Truth. A lot of the fans upset at, why are we doing this with John Cena? Maybe we should do something better with John Cena. Doesn't mean they dislike Truth or think that Truth should certainly be gone, traded from the team, or anything like that. So, I don't think it's fake love at all, is my entire point there.
No, I agree with you. Like you can be upset that person is being used in a spot that they really shouldn't be using, or how they're being used, but that doesn't mean that you don't have love for them or you don't appreciate everything that they done. Like R-Truth, I talked about it a lot on True Hill. I did an emergency stream on Sunday to talk about the Truth news because it really got to me and it made me really realize like how long I've been watching R-Truth. I've been watching R-Truth for 25 years. I remember when he first debuted in WWE with as K-Quick and getting rowdy. We're going to do some things. I remember that. I remember him and Road Dogg as a tag team. And I remember that he was one of the main reasons that I started watching NWA TNA. If I don't see familiar faces, like seeing the Jeff Jarrett's of the world, it's like, oh, Jarrett's doing something else after the Slapnuts thing in WCW. Seeing older Scott Hall, and it's like, oh, Scott Hall's over here. But seeing R-Truth or Ron the Truth Killings at that time, that was one of the main reasons why I stuck with NWA TNA through a couple of the bad years in the early years with a lot of the stuff that they were doing. But him coming out and cutting these kind of anti-authority and different promos that were so starkly different from his WWE presentation was the reason why I really liked TNA. And then seeing him with Road Dogg and Conan and 3 Live Crew was the first time that I got to see a lot of his humor and his comedy timing. And then seeing him go back to WWE and become R-Truth in 2008. And I said it repeatedly. It's unreal. This man had a 17-year-long second run with the promotion. Like his second run ran 10 times longer than his first initial run in the company, and he just became this mainstay. He was kind of part of the furniture, where to the point we all thought that he was going to be a WWE lifer. And it's like mind-boggling and baffling that you can't find something else for him to do. Like, okay, you don't want him to be an in-ring performer, or you don't want to pay him the money that he was making or renew his contract in that way. You can't just give him a Legends deal right after, or give him a job in the back as a coach or producer. Maybe that's not something that he wanted to do, but how everything was kind of explained in the Fightful Select report about being called by the talent relations and told your contract's not going to be renewed, and being stunned and surprised by that. that's disheartening. That's something that hurts the way that fans view you, because if someone that's been so loyal and had so much love and was so beloved backstage and was a glue guy for that locker room, it was so sad to hear that, because he's done so much to maximize his minutes. When you always heard about that in wrestling, the guys who maximize their minutes, that's R-Truth to a T. Like everything that he's done, from feuding with the U.S. Championship in like 2010 with The Miz, or the heel turn in 2011 and the creation of Little Jimmy, that type of stuff were great. Him smoking cigarettes and stuff in 2011, the build up to the first Cena matchup at Capital Punishment, not so much the Cena matchup itself, but he was a part of that tables match where Cena gets laid out and then Punk cuts his promo on the stage, the pipe bomb. He was in the Rock's first matchup in WWE after like a nearly a decade, like 7-8 years away. So like he's been such an important clog in the WWE machine and been this comedic character that the guys like Vince McMahon always relied on. The 24/7 title would not have lasted as long as it did if not for R-Truth. Plain and simple, I will say that to the moon and back. He made the most of that 24/7 title that probably would have lasted a couple of months, let alone the years that it went on, and it became this viral sensation and all these social media videos that they were able to do. Like R-Truth was so important to the WWE television product and his social media impression as well. He should have been somebody that you find something for, let alone just letting him go and talent relations just calling him, and he's shocked and surprised to hear that his job is, he no longer has his job. That is not what you want to hear for someone who's been such a veteran and such a glue guy to that locker room.
They don't care. It's just, they see the bottom line, they see how much he was making, and they decided, oh, that's too much. We're not gonna renew. And that's where they're at. With everything.
And the Triple H of it all, man, like this is the thing that's baffling to me. Triple H is not only the CCO. People tend to forget he's the head of talent relations. He's told about these budgets.
I don't think he is the head of talent relations.
He's not the head of talent relations.
No,
anymore?
We had that clarified yesterday. He's not the head of talent relations.
Okay. Well, he's the one. From what the report, I think it was Wrestling Observer reported that it was his decision of who is let go after they were given the budget that they needed to cut, and he made the decision to that Truth and Carlito were let go. You should have these things in mind. Are you just told that stuff and you don't come up with like a plan and stuff like that? There's no foresight. Like it's just mind-boggling. All of this is just mind-boggling with R-Truth.
It does say on the WWE website, like maybe people got different titles and everything, but it does say, as Chief Content Officer, Levesque oversees company's creative writing, talent relations, live events, talent development, and creative services department. So it feels like it's kind of an all-encompassing thing. Yeah. I don't think he is the end-all be-all when it comes to, or he is the end-all be-all when it comes to talent relations, but he is not like basically what John Laurinaitis used to be with talent relations. I feel like they have somebody else.
Because I know when he first took over head of creative, it was him taking over head of creative and head of talent relations.
Yeah,
which we've heard in the past from guys like Bruce Pritchard. That is not the job to have both. You should not have both. Be in charge of both things. Which I always thought that was a bad decision. So I am actually happy to hear that he's not the head of talent relations if he's not. But the fact that he's overseeing both creative and talent relations, you should have some foresight involved in this to make a plan and give Truth a proper send-off if you are going to let him go.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I have a hard time believing that he did not know that Truth's contract was at least coming up, and he did not know of the possibility that it might not be renewed. And if he knew that, probably should have done something a little bit different. Probably, maybe he thought some deal would get I don't know. I have as much as I tried to give Triple H the benefit of the doubt yesterday. I think with the releases, I have a hard time giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think if he wants to say something there, then he can probably say something there. With contract negotiations, I tried to give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt of, all right, well, he can't say, hey, pay him $1 million if they're asking for $1 million. But he has to have some type of wherewithal and some type of know of what the negotiations may or may not look like when it comes to this stuff. Certainly Nick Khan does. So I think blame can certainly be placed on Nick Khan. And if you're as close to with Nick Khan as everyone claims you are, then you should probably, get together and figure out how much this guy wants and how much you can pay him. But I also just wonder was there a negotiation with this stuff? Like, how much of negotiations were actually done? Or was it just, hey, his contract's coming up, he's making this much. Yeah, we're not going to renew that. We're not even going to speak to him because he might want the same. He's probably not going to take less. And we don't want to pay him the same. We certainly don't want to pay him more. So, adios. Like, I wonder how much that plays into things. Of like, there really wasn't, because Shotzi commented with her contract. She was the one where it was contract expiration, not a release, and she said that she was always kind of given, oh yeah, we know it's coming up, we know, and Corbin did the same thing. Like, we know it's coming up, we know, and then they just didn't hear from them forever until, hey, we're not renewing your contract. Like, by the sound, Carmella, same thing.
Yeah.
With those instances, there was no real negotiation there. So I'm more inclined to believe that Truth's contract was coming up and there really wasn't a big back and forth. It was more, his contract's coming up. Okay. We're just going to let it expire. We're not even going to try to retain him because he's making this much and he's either going to want that or he's going to want more. And we're not even going to get into a negotiation with that.
Yeah. And I doubt, I know Zeno and I were saying in some defense, the decision to not renew might have been decided in the last few days instead of before Saturday night's main event. I doubt they did not know that his contract was coming up, though, before Saturday night's main event. If the way this whole program was put together, I think it was put together with the thought of this could be one of R-Truth's last things that he does before his contract expires. Maybe they were negotiating and he still could have, took the renewal for a lesser amount. We don't know all those details, but I firmly doubt to you that they don't know that his contract was close to being expired by Saturday night's main event.
I would say you're right. But I think there are enough examples where they don't actually realize what's going on with contracts.
Okay. Let me put this in a better way. They should know.
Yes, okay.
They should know.
Yeah, they should.
This contract is coming up. They should know.
They should. Now, whether or not they do is a different question. They need what they have on TEW, just reminders. It's like a home screen reminder of like contract expiring soon. They get an email every 30 days, like 30 days out. Like, hey, this super
like GM mode. They do that too. Like,
you get the emails.
This guy's contract's expired.
Yeah, do they not have something?
They have like 100. They have like a fucking 1,000 employees. They don't have anyone who does this stuff. Like, come on. And don't get me started with this TKO and WWE, man. One thing I don't accept, and I'm going to put it plain and simple here. I will never accept these billionaires with broke boy energy. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I had a whole rant about that. I had Auntie Collins being like, she never saw me in that form, because I had a whole rant on True Hill Heat on Saturday talking about Mariah May possibly taking less money to go to WWE, because it's my dream. It's my wrestling dream. It's not the wrestling dream. It's the wrestling business. Don't let these billionaires have fucking broke boy energy, man. They got the money. Run those pockets. Run those fucking pockets. You don't got lit in your pocket. You got $1 million in there. I'm sorry, Harlem.
She doesn't appreciate your energy.
No, she don't.
You know, the LFG ones, I can understand. Like, you were going there. Harlem, you got to pick your spots better. I gotta.
See up here defending billionaires.
Yeah. I gotta check Harlem on that one. That was an uncalled for. Shut up, Dada.
He's like, throw the flag on her.
That one was not necessarily Harlem. I appreciate your run-ins, but that one, nah. I did like your apology to her though. I get what you're saying. I don't begrudge these wrestlers. If WWE is their dream, fine. Like, I'm totally with you of it's your dream, but like they should still pay you better than market value. Like,
yes,
should still get this money out of them. Like, that's cool that it's your dream.
I feel like overall,
they got the cash.
Wrestlers are underpaid. Wrestlers in general are underpaid. The way they put their bodies on the line, they should be getting paid way more than they already are.
100%. They're all underpaid. I think someone, it might have been it might have been Matt Kuhn who pointed out, like, NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB, it's all 50-50 revenue splits because they got a CBA. They got, a players union. WWE and UFC, they ain't got that stuff. So the billionaires can say, yeah, we're only going to pay you 10%. We bring in billions. We're only going to give you thousands of that, when they should all be making a whole lot more, because without them, they wouldn't be at the point where they're making billions. But there's no union. There's no CBA. So the billionaires dictate the money. And the billionaires only care about the billionaires.
Man, run those TKO pockets. Run those Tony Khan pockets, man. I'm an internationally notorious known bag watcher. I'm a pocket watcher. I want these people to make as much. I want them pockets to be fat. All these wrestlers deserve fat pockets. Mariah May, Stephanie Vaquer included. Just because you got a dream, don't mean that you can't get an extra zero on your check. Stephanie Vaquer, she earned that extra zero real quick, but I want everybody to earn that extra zero when they initially sign.
In fairness to Tony and AEW, like, I still think the AEW wrestlers are most likely underpaid, but Tony, like, that company just started turning a profit this year.
Yeah.
And they were always going to lose money in the first 5 years. Tony's openly talked about that. In fairness, it does seem like they pay better than whatever market value is. And that's why WWE gets upset that they get paid that much money. That's why the report comes out of Swerve. Oh, yes. He got paid way more than market. You set the market value. What do you mean he got paid more than market value? The market is whatever someone is willing to pay you. You weren't willing to pay him that much. Okay. That's your market value for him. AEW was willing to pay him that much. But you guys have set the market value for years. And that's why you think when someone is making, just throwing out numbers, these are not legit numbers. When someone is making $1 million and you only want to offer them $700,000, you think they're getting paid above market value because your market is 700. Well, their market probably is closer to $1 million, honestly. But you guys don't want to pay that much, and that's your right. Fine. That's how much you want to pay. But don't be mad when somebody else wants to pay more and act like this is an egregious thing that somebody wants to. But this is what they do, right? This is what they did with WCW. Like, oh, they're getting paid way too much money. Yeah. Ted Turner's just throwing his money around and paying these guys way more than they deserve. Why? What do you mean paying them way more than they deserve? Paying them fair money.
Because you wanted to play Macho Man Randy Savage as an announcer when he still had years left in his career.
Yeah.
You wanted to pay freaking Roddy Piper a part-time deal where he can be a commissioner. You didn't think he had any days left in the ring, and then he goes to WCW and works like 3-4 more years. Like, yeah, y'all, this is what WWE's been doing for years, and I don't like it. I don't like the broke boy energy. Billionaires should never have broke boy energy. It's the same energy that I gave to Oklahoma City Thunder when they let James Harden go. Broke boy energy.
We're not going to rehash
broke boy energy.
We're not going to rehash that. We're in our positive era, SP3. We're not looking back at the guy who was never in Club Superstar.
Hey, never. James Harden was in Club Superstar like 7 years ago. He was in Club Superstar.
Never in Club Superstar.
Russell Westbrook was in Club Superstar. Yeah.
Fair. Russ should be in Club Superstar. That one's actually correct.
Yeah.
But James Harden, no, never made it. He had to sneak in and got kicked out.
Subsequently, he did get kicked out like very soon after.
He was doing too much in Club Superstar. Like somebody, he's got to leave it in practice at some point, right? Somebody get this man. Somebody come get him.
No one gets unlimited lemon pepper wings in Club Superstar.
At least LeBron and all these guys, they've left for a little while to, work on their game. They got a basketball court in Club Superstar, and James Harden just never used it. That's the problem with James Harden. He never went to the court in Club Superstar. He was always at the bar or the pole, never on the court.
The bar or the pole. That's awesome.
I'll be saying, it's Tuesday. Am I bummed out yet? I'm pre-miserable right now. Talk to me on Thursday. Yeah, talk to me on Thursday. I'll be pre-miserable. Anything else from the world of wrestling? I don't feel like we talked about Raw at all, but Raw was it was a show.
It was good. It was a good show.
Fine.
It was good. It wasn't great. I feel like something's missing for me to be how enthused I was with Monday Night Raw, like even a month ago. I feel like still something's missing with the Seth Rollins faction.
They just friggin' get run off like a bunch of dorks every week. I understand they
got heat at the end.
They did get heat. Yeah, they did get heat at the end of this show, which was good. But for weeks, they've just been getting run off, and I felt they've been looked like weaklings over the past few weeks. So I did actually like the ending of last night because they did look strong. But they got run off earlier in the night, though. So at least they got their heat back at the end of the night.
I think that's going well. I like the Judgment Day is actually interesting again, but it fairly felt like they were kind of spinning their wheels on that. The main things that are just not working for me on Monday Night Raw is the tag team division. I just have no interest in them doing War Raiders versus Judgment Day again. I feel like I've seen this same matchup like 47 times in the last 6 months.
They don't have any face teams on Raw is the problem. It's just Viking Raiders War Raiders, sorry. Because Judgment Day won, and it's like, oh, cool, that's like a Judgment Day actually gets like a victory, but and it's like, oh wait, the champions are the New Day, so how's that going to work? They don't have any good face tag teams on Raw.
No, they need the Lucha Bros badly. Lucha Bros, please come and save us. I like the main event storyline. I like where they're at with the Judgment Day storyline. It feels like it's interesting again, but the tag team division is just blah. They haven't put a lot of focus on Io Sky in the last couple of weeks, which is always a downer for me. I feel like Gunther's being nuked, but then you have Stephanie Vaquer showing up on the place. So that was a boost. I thought that three-way matchup was fun. I thought the main event was good. The wrestling on the show was mostly good. So, like I said, I thought it was a good episode of Monday Night Raw. Did you want to, I see in the chat, Senior Nerd talking about the Cora Jade interview, which was interesting yesterday on Ariel Wani.
Yes, I listened. I did a lot of work on it with transcriptions and everything. I thought she spoke her truth on things. Like the stuff that she has gone through, talking about the ectopic pregnancy in January 2023 and how that affected her and everything. Like that's just awful stuff to go through. Like I'm glad she is okay and survived that, because that's a very scary situation. And like again, I'm just glad she made it through. And then she had a rough time after that, and completely understandable. And then she got hurt upon like kind of returning from everything, and missed a lot of time with the knee injury, which was unfortunate. It's just tough to hear anyone that has gone through that stuff. I don't think anybody who gets released, way too many people, just the negative comments, the backlash with everything. Cora was already getting a lot of shots and everything for stuff that really wasn't in her control. Joel likes to do the emo crying thing with Cora. There are certainly television stuff with Cora that I can understand why people might not be a fan of her. Some of her ring work wasn't always the greatest. Some of her promos weren't always the greatest. But that doesn't pertain to who she is as a person, or how she looks, or what she has gone through in her personal life, because we don't judge people based on that. If we're talking about stuff, we're typically talking about the wrestler that is presented on television. So I thought it was a good interview. I thought she said a lot of things that I hope people will take notice to, and they probably won't. But I thought it was overall a good interview. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was very insightful. I thought that she addressed a lot of different things throughout her WWE run, whether it be the body shaming that she received from coworkers as well as like trainers, whether it be to all the hard work that she did outside of the performance center, and like her schedule, which was crazy at the time as well. The whole health scare and stuff like that. That was like, damn, that's crazy that you have to deal with that, and on top of all the injuries that kind of like sandwich that whole situation as well, and then going through like her breakup, and then trying to kind of now be free from all of that. Her having like the premonition back in like November, which is just 1 month after she returned. Like I remember I was like, you returned on that October 1st CW premiere. 1 month later you were like, oh nah, it's a wrap. Damn.
That was a weird comment. I'm not saying she was wrong for feeling that way, but yeah, when she said that November I had this feeling, and then in Vegas I was going to enjoy it as much as I could because I didn't think I would be back. But then she talked about how the last 6 months were so great, and so she was able to live it up. It was just strange she thought in November she might get released, but she really enjoyed the 6 months with everything since November, and kind of felt like she wasn't walking around on eggshells and feeling like she was getting released. In her head, she might have still thought that, but she certainly, based on what she said, enjoyed the last 6 months. And she said that it was a really fun time in her career because she got to work with Bayley and she got to work with Roxanne and everything. So I'm not saying she didn't feel that way in November. She didn't feel that way when she was in Vegas. But then to hear her talk about like how great the last 6 months were, it just felt, I guess, weird is the best word I can use to describe it. Just like, okay. And look, maybe she felt more free of like, I could be released at any time. But when she talks about feeling so good these last 6 months, it came off to me like she didn't have a worry of being released. She felt more safe with everything because she was just having such a good time. And I think that's why the release maybe did hit her harder than imagined, because I don't know if, at least when the release came, like how she was feeling with everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, but a lot of people say that. That's the thing with release. I listened to a Jakara Jackson interview, and she mentioned, and Katana Chance, Casey Catanzaro, same thing. A lot of people who are getting released doing interviews, and a lot of very similar stories. It feels, yeah. And Aaron Ruiz pointing out Indy Hartwell, but going to Jakara and Casey, they kind of said the same thing of like they felt years ago like, oh yeah, I'm going to get released, and then they didn't, and then when they started to feel comfortable, that's when they got released. So I do wonder if Cora is kind of equating that and stretching back to November, but by the time releases came around, maybe she did feel a little more comfortable. I, again, don't know fully. It's what she said. That was just one thing to me that I was like, oh, that's just weird that you felt this way in November, but you also kind of described how you were feeling good about things and what you were doing, and then the release came. Because typically when people have the fear of being released, they're talking more of, yeah, I just didn't feel great about all the things that I was doing, and I felt like I couldn't speak up. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. I felt like I wasn't getting anything, and that wasn't her experience at all in the last 6 months.
Yeah, she had a totally different experience, and I respect her feelings on everything. I did peep what Zeno Hour said. He says the IWC lost interest, that she didn't have anything negative about HBK and Triple H. I don't, if you expected her to say anything negative about HBK and Triple H, you don't listen to 90% of these interviews from people that get released from WWE. I call it WWE Stockholm Syndrome, where when Vince McMahon was in charge, no one ever really, like, there would be 90% of interviews from guys that got released and they wouldn't have a bad thing to say about Vince. They had a good relationship with Vince. They don't know what happened. For people now, it's, oh, I had a good relationship with Sean and Hunter. I don't have anything negative to say about that. They don't realize that any issues that you did have during your time, it usually comes from the top. It usually comes from the top, and and the top can always do something about the things that you did experience. So by you not saying anything negative and still having some negative experiences, you are bringing an impression on how the top is basically, from the top down, from the top to the bottom. It's usually starts up there with everything that you go through, good, bad, and indifferent. If you just want to focus on the good and you have nothing negative to say, I basically call it WWE Stockholm Syndrome, where you think that you would go back there if you had the opportunity to go there, but you're also kind of praising your abuser at the same time, in less than better terms.
No one wants to burn the bridge, and I get that. I think there's value in not doing that. Historically, the people that return are the people who maybe say nice things and whatnot, but honestly, like, just don't, like, mention that they want to come back to the company. I mean, Punk and Cody are the two biggest examples that I can give. And Punk and Cody are certainly top tier names when it comes to that. But Cody certainly seemingly burnt bridges. Punk definitely burnt bridges. They returned, and they came back as the biggest stars there. There are still people that return and, they don't burn any bridges, and they get to return and they come back and, like, they're in okay. Am I back? Am I good?
Your picture's still frozen. I hear you though.
I don't think I am.
Your picture's frozen, but I can hear you. Oh no. No, I see the swirly line. I see the line. Does everybody else see the circly thing for Jeremy in his picture, or is it just me? Is my internet out? I don't know, but no, he makes a good point. Like the people that talk disparaging about WWE, 9 times out of 10, if you are that good of a talent, if you're that good at what you do, you're gonna come back no matter what, and you're back.
Okay. All right. I'll try this again. Apologies. Most people who come back, like they might say good things. Somebody's saying Braun Strowman. Yeah, Braun Strowman came back, and then what happened to him? He got just released again. So even if you return, like when you keep saying like, "Oh, I love WWE, I want to come back," they're going to take that as like, "Oh, we can just bring them back kind of anytime that we want."
Yeah,
and then it'll be fine. They just want to come back here, so it's cool. A lot of times, people want what they can't have, right? SP3, like how
yeah.
we both have kids. You tell the kid they can't do this, you can't have this. What do? They just want it more. They keep bugging you about
you
it
at nauseum.
more.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's what happens with this stuff. So if you keep telling them like, "Oh, I want to come back. I know I'll be back. The door is always open." Blah blah blah. They're just like, "Okay, well, we know at any point we can just bring you back. So why are we gonna bring you back 5 years from now? If you're saying the same thing, we just bring you back." But if you say like, "Yeah, screw WWE. Like, don't really need them. Gonna go do it on my own. I don't want to come back," then they're gonna be more likely to be like, "Oh, you don't want to? Well, fine. We're gonna make you an offer, and we'll see how much you don't want to come back." And then you come back,
you
and
can't
then
refuse.
So, and I'm not saying these people should all burn bridges and go just completely tear everything down and whatnot. I'm not saying that is the right way to do things. I do think there is value in just not saying, "Oh yeah, I want to go back to WWE. My dream is still main event WrestleMania." Like I think there's value in just being like, "Had a good time there. We'll see what the future holds. But right now, I want to do my own thing, and I have this plan." Like I do think one thing Cora has done very well is like she has a lot of indie dates already announced. Like she has a ton of indie dates announced, and she's going to be staying busy until whenever she's not busy, and that is a good sign that she's at least getting her name out there very quickly with everything. But yeah, overall, that was a good interview, though. Hawani always does very good long form interviews. And if you were expecting bash WWE stuff, she was not going to give that. She learned many things from CM Punk, but
exactly
speaking ill of the company he used to work for was not one of them.
And she mentioned that Punk said, "Don't do the stuff that I did when I left here." So yeah, it's a good, very good interview. I would say go out of your way to watch that. But yeah, Elena Black, Lab Glass is saying in the chat, Gigi Dolan, aka Priscilla Kelly, they're all getting back out there. You got Jakara Jackson. I think she's going by Masa. What is it? Something I forget her new name. She's got a big matchup with Masha Slamovich on Jersey Championship Wrestling. That should be really good. So these people who are getting released are free agents this week, and they're hitting the ground running. A lot of them. Some of them are going to be a little bit slower to the game, and then we got another 2 months before the other people that were on the main roster basically get their shot on to see if they can hit the ground running as well. I'm interested.
I think her name is Mara Sade is what she's going.
Mara Sade. There we go. Mara Sade.
Yeah. Sorry that the catch up here is bad. No.
It's okay.
All right, let's wrap as my internet just falls apart here in the final seconds here. SP3, anything to plug?
Twitter machine right there at True Hill SP3. I got for Sports Illustrated, I believe, a new top 10 coming out. Top 10 greatest lucha libre wrestlers of all time. That should be probably coming out this week ahead of Worlds Collide. And then the True Hill Heat YouTube channel is where I'll be pretty much all this week. Today, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, it'll be myself, Romeo, and Top Guy JJ talking about last night's Monday Night Raw. So if you want a little bit more in-depth analysis on last night's Monday Night Raw, join us over there for Rated Raw Review. I'll be there tomorrow with Miss Chrissy Love at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time to discuss Dark Side of the Ring, the final episode, Becoming Muhammad Hassan. You can check that out. And then I'll be there as well, you know, the usual things. AE Ramble with Jimmy Macaram, the flagship podcast, Saturday, 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time with Miss Chrissy Love. And on Friday, I'll be on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel with Maggie of Fightful Overbooked, coexisting with Rob and Maggie. We'll be talking all about and previewing WWE, AAA, Worlds Collide, and Money in the Bank. So full week of content over there at True Hill Heat. And of course, I'll be back here on Thursday. Well, we got the C-suite, baby, talking about WWE Evolve with the first ever Evolve Men's Champion being crowned.
Thursday, I'll be miserable, so everybody can look forward to that. Tomorrow, Joel will be miserable because it's a 4-hour AEW show, and Joel tried to preview the show yesterday, so he didn't have to do it on Wednesday. So Joel can just hate on AEW, I guess, tomorrow. He did the preview on Monday, so we could hate on everything on Wednesday. Everyone, all right, who finished with the top XP? Let's see how broken this system is with these XP points over here. Senior Nerd, Lab Glass, and Zeno Hour were the top 3 with the XP. So Senior Nerd.
Shout out to Senior Nerd. Shout out Senior Nerd #1, baby.
Senior Nerd, Lab Glass, and Zeno Hour. All right. You guys are 1, 2, and 3 to start June. Whoever finishes with the top XP will get a cameo from Brian Alvarez.
So you're doing it across the month of June?
The entire month of June.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, the whole month of June. So there you go. No one knows what the XP is, Meet Normus. We're trying to figure it all out, have fun with it, and reward someone with an unsuspecting Brian Alvarez cameo. Which makes as much sense as the XP, honestly. Getting a cameo from Brian Alvarez makes as much sense as how this XP works. So, there you go. All right, folks. We'll be back tomorrow, myself and Joel. Till then, everyone, enjoy your Tuesday. Watch NXT. Don't watch NXT. I don't really care. I've got to talk about it tomorrow regardless. Bye, everybody.